Ekhaya emazulwini lo wasifela washaywa wahlatshwa waba inhlekisa eCalvary usendleleni uyeta uyasilanza nangabe empeleni emacinisweni uhlaleleni uthibiseleni tsatse wethu uhlaleleni lena ncola iyahamba iya ekhaya emazulwini thina sesiya kuyovuna leteti tseni ningakhohlwa phela lamhlabeni besitele kutawutshala sekufike lesikhathi sekuthi sale siyawuvuna wathi nakahamba wasithembisa wathi yena uyakosakhela tindlu ngithi anginatise nje kuthi usetlungele lesekushoda ukuthi ngithi sale singena ngekhathi uhlaleleni mnakethu awuboni ngani lokwalotshwa kwathiwa uyawubathi imphawu kwakuthi umdaliso sendleleni sekuvele kuyenteka ngembala seliyaqwalisekisa lethu incola thina labakholwayo seyiyaduma wena uyasala ungasala njani usebentile akukhathalekile umonile wena guca phasi ngelidolo umemete lo sesihlalweni awungitshele uthibiseleni uyibona incola ishosholoza balishumayela emabhasini balishumayela emaredweni balishumayela emsakatweni awuboni ngani kuthi siyahamba lethu indlela seyiyakhanya embili siyabona angithi bakubeka kwacaca bathi so vele sewuhambile
Iyoleni ngwenyama ingwenyama yemasweti iyoleni ngwenyama
Hey guys, let's take a selfie.
Oh, wait.
Please. Woo!
Get it.
It's a video.
We, the young, are not a complicated bunch. You see, we take each day as a clean slate, a chance to experience more. Why turn down the volume when you can turn up the vibe? It's never about the destination, it's about the journey. And this is so true when it comes to South. This land wants you to live in the here and now.
The coolest.
And not in some hashtag, because a place this timeless doesn't. It sets them. And her people have a way of making you feel at home. So come touch, taste, and live South Africa. There's so much more to see. Come journey with us.
The Central Bank of Eswatini Board of Directors
management and staff congratulate His Majesty King Eswatini III on his 54th birthday. Luno lelo luthe wena waphakathi. Halala kwenyama yemaswati.
Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to the News Bulletin at 8, brought to you by our number one news provider, Eswatini TV. I am Nondomiso Vilagate alongside Nomaktabiso Nkambule, and here are your top stories. The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Themba Masuku, has advised senior citizens and members of the disabled community against sharing their mobile money deals with unknown people. The Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, says the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini will continue to support the textile industry. The Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, has officially opened the Mahosha Deep Tank under the Ngudzeni constituency. The news. The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Themba Masuku, has advised senior citizens and members of the disabled community against sharing their mobile money deals with unknown people.
Some in Maswati have fallen victims to scammers who call them and ask for their mobile money numbers and promise to send them money from the relief fund. The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Themba Masuku, has warned the Maswati, especially the elderly and the disabled, to watch out and not dare share their mobile money numbers with anyone.
But now ungafaka nje 200 emalangeni bavame kusho njalo kulamalanga. Now ungafaka 200 emalangeni kule account yakho bese usinika iphini utahamba le mali uyoyithola lapha ebhange basebenzisa ke lokho kanti bakunike nenombolo yabo bakunike i-sim card le fake nabo nakulokuthiwa i-wallet bakunike ma notifications ukuthi le mali lihhovisi lephini leNdunankulu lilungise ukuthi bonke ba COVID-19 kunemali labatawunikwa yona bayisho nale mali ukutabe kungu-700 kepha wena kufuneka ufake 200 ukuze utothola le mali. Sithi ke kude lesi sithi sine silitiko leliphini leNdunankulu ukuthi sinika imali sitokunika imali ngokuqala lokho saqala nje isigebengu sathi sifaka imali lithi lehhovisi la ka DPM litakufakela imali ujube locingo lwakho ungaphindza ulalele lolo hlanya lolo ngoba usuke uconze nje kuganga. Hambelana lusito lwa COVID-19 noma lusito lwane ngisho lama grant ningaqali nje nibalalele ukuthi kukhona lokuhle labatanentela kona tonke inkulumo lethambelana nelusito lwahulumende lolusuka ehhovisi lephini laNdunankulu lutawukhulunywa ngu-PS noma ngu-Director Social Welfare noma ke kuletinye tikhathi kuye kukhulume lona phini laNdunankulu.
For Eswatini TV News, I'm Dinkin Kode with Vumugo Sintinisa in Babane.
Ngoba Khumalo says the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini will continue to support the textile industry as it play a pivotal role in the economy of the kingdom. The minister was speaking at Giant Clothing Textile Company when their operations.
Siboneke kundlondlobala kwale nkampani kule minyaka lemibili lapho besina COVID khona ngoba babuke emathuba ukuthi tinfo letidingeka emhlabeni wonke emaveni langesheya fake phansi boNgilandi lafake phansi boJalimane boAustria fake phansi boItaly boDenmark nakhona la eAfrica boZimbabwe boBotswana Lesotho eSouth Africa nakhona la ekhaya babuka ukuthi yini labangakwakha lokudingeka nje emhlabeni bakuthatha ke bakubuyisa la ekhaya so ke kulesikhathi nje sa COVID bona bakhule nebantu labangu 650 kanti bebasebavele bangu 1600 lokusho ke ukuthi inkampani lethina ukuthi siyisekele singulumende ngoba uma basichazela isabona emathuba lamahle kakhulu ekukhula futhi iyawathatha lamathuba singulumende ke sinalo umqondo ukuthi vele le textile industry sitayisekela kakhulu silitiko la commerce sinemqondo ukuthi kumele ukuthi siyisekele iyakhula futhi iqasha abantu abaningi kungako nje sinale program yekwenta ama-factory shells kuto tonke tindzawo talelive kuze ukuthi kutawuqhubeka kuqasheke emaswati asisho-ke ukuthi mhlawumbe tinsayelo lesitibona siphinde sitidle kule industry siyatithakasela sithi noma sitikhuluma asitikhulume ngendlela yakhabo ukuze ukuthi le industry iqhubeke ikhule iqhubeke iqashe emaswati sikhule kanye kanye netimvo letinye lebetentiwa ngaphandle kule live tibuye tendiwe lakhaya kuyasijabulisa kakhulu ukubona lokhu sicela kunikatho lokuqina ke nebaphathi bale nkampani lokuthi litiko litanisekela uhulumende utanisekela ngesakhula lokubonakalisa ukuthi kuqashwe emaswati kuyasijabulisa nje impela kakhulu.
On another note, the Minister of Commerce, Mangoba Khumalo, says the bilateral relations between Eswatini and the Republic of India have started yielding a positive results, which is a positive step in the economy. He was speaking when welcoming back home from India a delegation of 15 members who were part of the Surajai Kand International Mela Crafts Fair.
From the 19th of March to the 4th of April, Eswatini partook in the Surajai International Mela Crafts Fair in India, where 15 Emaswati, which were comprised of 8 cultural dancers, 5 handicraft entrepreneurs, and 2 members from the Ministry of Commerce, all who were in support Khumalo, who was in company of the Minister of Sports, Culture and Youth Affairs, Harris Bulunga.
Lokho kuyasijabulisa kakhulu ngoba kusho ukuthi kuthuthuka live lethu kaNgwane liyatiwa abantu labe bangalati itolo nabo sobabhizinisi labati sebentela ngentandla sebayakhona ukuthi babone ukuthi likusasa litawuba khona ngoba batawuqhubeka bathole imakethe letisha.
I wish to thank also the Ministry of Commerce, Industry and facilitating everything from paperwork and other logistics, particularly for the Sibahlenga Masiko cultural group as they prepared to participate in the Mela.
The High Commissioner of India in Eswatini, Randa Vengataraman, who is now living in Eswatini, says she will always miss the lovely Eswatini and let alone about the Eswatini culture.
The Mela aims to focus on identifying languishing and lesser known crafts and to introduce them to patrons.
The SETCO Managing Director, Ketsu Mhlanga, says the reports from the fair participants are delighting.
Our artisans were exposed to seeing how they can generate income through products that they produce themselves. And with that, they were able to showcase even the love that we have for our country.
The Principal Handicraft Officer, Zantile Bilagad, says exhibited items were most loved some already ordered more in India.
Among the beadwork, we also had bead products made from natural tree seeds, castor seeds and guavas, and all those beads were organic and they were most appreciated by visitors in our store.
The exhibited items include beads, grass bags, traditional beadwork, basketry, bowls, paintings, to name amongst a few. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
The Minister for Agriculture has officially launched the building of a dam at Ngutseni. The dam will be called Mkhondvongwavuma Dam and is set to be built from September. Mabuza says the implementing agency for the project will be government wing Eswatini.
Ngutseni community gathered in their numbers at Kamamba Chiefdom, where Agriculture Minister Jabulani Mabuza launched the Mkhondvongwavuma Water Augmentation Project, set to commence in September. Mabuza says he is delighted by the enthusiasm shown by the community members towards the project.
Lesikujabuleleke ngokona ukuthi abantu basemukele bayemukela nale project bakhombisa nelisasasa lekuyijabulela vele ngoba emandi ayimpendulo yetintfo letinengi akusiko nje ukuthi mhlawumbe ekunatha kuphela kepha aphindze aside nekwenta intuthuko kule mikhiqido letabe seyendeka kulendzawo ngemva kokufika kwalamandi ishiselo ke nengcenye yelibombo iyathinzeka ke kule project ngiko ke sibachazela nje ukuthi sibethulele bakhone kwati ukuthi nabo babuke nekuthi setha project.
Prince Pinda Mamba of Mamba Chiefdom articulated that water is life when expressing their words of gratitude to the Ministry of Agriculture.
Basilethele kuphila nomalo manje. Basilesane lithemba. Ukuthi noma ngabe kwendekani nje ke kodwa asihlale sinelithemba. Lokusijabulisa kakhulu futhi akusisi sodwa bakamama. Ubana uva ukuthi kuyashisa la noma emasimini akakhona kuya uyaya uyokwenzela kamakhelwane.
Mabuza says 30,000 hectares of land has been allocated to the project. He says this will allow the community to look into producing more products which will add into the value chain. Sifiso Ngumalo with Smuva Shongwe for Eswatini TV News, Ngutseni.
And again, the Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, has officially opened the Mahoshe Deep Tank under Ngutseni constituency. Mabuza says this should motivate more Mahoshe community members to venture into cattle and goat farming.
Still under the Ngutseni constituency right after launching the Mkhondvongwavuma Water Augmentation Project, the Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, headed over to Mahoshe for an official opening of the Mahoshe Deep Tank. Mabuza says after the ministry was made aware of the challenges the community had of traveling long distances to and from their previous deep tank, it was only right that they honor the ministry's objective to reduce traveling distances for animals to deep tanks.
Sidophakamisa kusebenta kwelidibhi lelibitwa ngekuthi iMahoshe deep tank number 131 kokuthi selingacala kusetshenziswa ngalokusemthethweni kusukela namuhla. Umuntu ke akaphindze ke athathele lithuba ke abongele sona sive sale community mhlawumbe kuyo inkundla ngoba inkundla lehlangana nahulumende bese kubukwa indlela ke ukuthi intuthuko yaloluhlobo ingentiwa kanjani. Umuntu uvile ukuthi bafake imali baraise imali lenganga 81,000 kwenda lo msebenzi ube impumelelo. Into lenkulu ke lena nekukhombisa nje kudimisela esiveni. Ngiko ke sisi appreciate kakhulu. Nahulumende ke ngeliphiko lwaka micro projects ukhiphile ke wafaka imali lenganga 240,000 kokuthi lo msebenzi ube impumelelo. Lokusho ukuthi nje lo msebenzi lesitowuvula namuhla wendiwe ngemali leng-322,000 seyiyonke.
Ngutseni Member of Parliament Big Boy Mamba says they are thankful that the travelling distances to the deep tank have been reduced to 4 kilometers from any direction.
About 6 to 7 kilometers tihambe tiyodipa khona so netimbudu kayathatha khona kuya khona setigcina sesiba netive.
Minister Mabuza implored Mahoshe community members to transform their traditional approach of farming to a commercial approach. He says the ministry is always available to give technical information from starting a farming business to understanding and finding markets for products. Sifiso Ngumalo with Smuba Shongwe for Eswatini TV News, Mahoshe.
The Minister for Education, Lady Howard, has issued a stern warning on head teachers who send pupils away from school for school fees. The minister says head teachers should desist from this as pupils have lost so much time because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Howard's conference in the ministry's offices.
The Minister for Education, Lady Howard, urges head teachers to deviate from sending pupils back home for school fees. Minister Howard says this has come to the ministry's attention.
The ministry is totally against such an administrative practice. I therefore earnestly remind head teachers not to interrupt the learners' attendance to school as this deprives them their right and responsibility to come to school to learn. The payment of school fees remains squarely the responsibility of parents or guardians. The reminders to parents asking them to pay school fees should not lead to learners being chased away from school. Head teachers need to use other means of asking for money from parents, not to chase learners away from school. Parents are urged to communicate with the schools about the payment of school fees. Where there is need to negotiate terms of payment with the school, they must present their cases to the head teachers even before schools start sending reminders. To neglect their children in schools once they are admitted is not noble parenting and therefore not acceptable. The ministry regards parents as a critical link to the learning of their Also noted by the ministry is that some schools just close abruptly on certain days based on claims that learners are not safe traveling to school. Some schools expel learners from school without the involvement of parents and without going through the laid out structures of the ministry on case management. The ministry is against such a practice. I therefore call upon the head teachers to uphold professionalism in schools at all times, as this is inherent in their profession.
The minister also urged head teachers to offer third-class passes spaces to learn. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni in Babane.
UNICEF has supported the training of teachers from different schools who will learn more about online learning and how to prepare lessons for learners using the online method and using computers. UNICEF has partnered with the Curriculum Center and the Ministry of Education. The workshop was held at Eswatini Lodge in Matsapa.
During the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic 2 years ago, schools had to be closed and learners had to be home. Some schools introduced the online learning method where learners adapted to the use of gadgets for school purposes. The Ministry of Education later introduced home learning through all media platforms in Eswatini. Seeing the positive impact of online learning, UNICEF has supported the training of teachers from different schools in the country who will learn more about using the online learning method. The director of the National Curriculum Center, Musa Hlope, thanked all the media houses in ensuring that learners get to learn all subjects while seated at home.
We will first start with a phase one approach,
With phase 1, we have actually identified the core subjects for Form 4 and 5. And phase 2 will be, we will be actually digitizing content on the electives for Form 4 and 5. Then phase 3 will then cascade it down.
Natalie Derris, the head of protection and education at UNICEF, says they have brought experts to help teachers with the online learning to improve the education sector.
It will be useful for you if you want to look at it, see how it looks like when it's almost finalized and when you can already access. And it's very easily accessible for anyone. If you have a phone number, which I guess everyone here has a phone number, you can just register with your phone number as a student, and it will look like how it looks like for a student when you have your learning passport.
The Director of Education, Dr. Lenhle Dlamini, says she hopes that this will open opportunities and learners and teachers will be supported.
If you are developing content for online, you really need a certain type of attitude. Like I said, we are all professionals here. Professionals have one strong thing. They know their thing. They know the content. They can go around boasting that they know. But what Scott is saying actually challenged me, because he said, as a content developer for an online program, you really need to learn the attitude of learning from one another.
As material will now be downloaded and made available in soft copies, this, however, will not take away business for book publishers because they as well have adapted into making books available online and in soft copies. This is a 2-day workshop at Esibayeni Lodge in Matsapa. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi in Matsapa.
The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Lindiwe Mbingo, says a report on the overlapping of mandates by the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Human Rights Commission is ready to be presented to Cabinet Ministers next week. Mbingo was speaking when her ministry appeared before the Public Accounts Committee on the issue of the ACC and the Human Rights Commission.
When the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs appeared before the Public Accounts Committee, the PAC chairperson, Musa Gunene, asked the Principal Secretary how far have they gone in resolving the issue of overlapping mandates for the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Human Rights Commission. The Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Justice, Lindiwe Mbingo, says a report by the task team that was assigned to investigate this issue will be presented to the Cabinet next week.
Set up a task team. A task team comprising of my officials from the Ministry of Justice, Under Secretary Justice, naye ACC ukhona, uphinze kube na Human Rights, bese kuba ne Ministry of Public Service. Kune challenge yeku overlapper kwema mandates ACC ne Human Rights. Saqela ukuthi sebasibukele ukuthi ngikuphi la kushayisana khona.
Members of the PAC asked the Principal Secretary why this issue keeps on dragging. They also asked if the ministry is working on looking into the constitution of the country.
In the age constitution yethu le ndlela leyaphuma ngayo, because I think seku apparent ukuthi some ithenga kuthindwa lapha nalapha la ishayisana khona.
Lo director noma lo mphathi wa ACC uappointwa ngubani ngoba kude lapho aka report akusho aka report naka judiciary o independent.
Why institution lengaka lemqoka kangaka even sithathe kancane litiko la justice libuke nje kuthi akusiyo into lengaphakamiselwa tinyawo.
Awungabona nje for the past 10 years nje we just nje we waste of state resource sisikuthi akusebenzeki akunama case lakendekako.
The PAC's chairperson Musa Gunene says it is not clear why it is difficult for the ministry to work this issue out since we are one nation, one government.
sidida nje ukuthi imisebenzi yaba-human rights neka-ACC iyaqabangela asihlula nje kuhlangana phasi si-align lokho.
Another issue that the ministry deliberated on was the issue of rented cars. For Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangeni, Parliament.
Different stakeholders responsible in the migration sector are compiling a report that will speak to the situation of immigration of people in Eswatini. This will help in assisting countries including Eswatini in migration matters. The meeting is held at Summerfield, Nogwane.
Different stakeholders responsible in the migration of people are compiling a report which will reflect the situation of Eswatini in migration matters and how Eswatini could be assisted. This follows the 2018 United Nations General Assembly Global Impact for Migration. The Chief Immigration Officer in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Makosi Simelane, says this will not necessarily show Eswatini as vulnerable, but rather will help expose which areas Eswatini can be assisted on this matter.
Lesihlangane ngako lapha silungisa umbiko nokuyi mid-term review ye Global Compact on Migration. Sithe kahle ligama lesiswati kuyiteka. Kodwa nje lokhu ngumgwaco lekwavumelana ngowo emave ngeminyaka wa 2018. Empeleni lenzaba yaqala nga-2016 lapho khona i-UN General Assembly yaphasisa umgomo wokuthi tizaba tekuphathwa kwetekuphuma kungena nekuhlala kwebantu labangasibo balelove evenitsite emave angadlelana kanjani noma lokanye abambisane njani ukuthi iphatha totindzaba. Kwathi-ke nga-2017 nga-April yaphinze kwase sekuthathwa sinqumo sokuthi akusale kwakhiwa umgwaco onke emave lakade awahamba ngawo uma abuka asebenza tindzaba tekuhlala kungena nekuphuma kwebantu labangasibo balelove lelo.
Jeremias Mendoz, the Chief of Mission in the International Organization for Migration, says this will help Eswatini see which areas to improve on.
This report, putting together this report just actually gives the country an opportunity to showcase that, you know. There's a lot that has been done, and I think even when we're going through the process today, we realize that there's so much that we do for migration management from different sectors, different stakeholders, but we haven't actually had the opportunity to sit down and put that whole thing, like everything together. And I think this opportunity gave this review report, it gave us that opportunity to look at what different agencies, different stakeholders are doing to support the government in migration management.
The report will then be presented before the Assembly in a date yet to be announced. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msid with Muzam Konda at the Summerfield.
Dear viewers, now take a look at our financial updates.
Standard Bank. It can be.
Welcome back. You're still watching Eswatini TV, and for your sports news tonight, Denver Sundowns head coach Ikabot Musasha says the ongoing by the club is indeed a project in progress. Sundowns has for the first time this season won 4 of their recent 5 games.
Denver Sundowns' current performance is proving to be promising, judged on their 5 previous games where they have only lost a game. They defeated Green Mamba 2-0, went on to edge neighbours Manzini Wanderers to 1-0, proceeded to defeat Tinyosi by 2-0. They were held by Bawan Highlanders to a 2-0 defeat before playing a goalless draw against the defending champions Leopold. Team coach Ikabot Masocha has called the team's spirit a project in progress.
It's slowly the belief is coming back. Remember, this team had gone for 11 games with just 1 win. So that alone can tell a big story. So with this kind of performance here, slowly we're getting to believe we can beat anyone. Of course, the quality, there's a huge gap between us and them in terms of quality player for player. But I think the boys did a huge job for us.
Sundowns are currently 10th on the M10 Premier League log with 27 points in 22 games played so far. Their next encounter will be against Meeting Hotspurs this coming Saturday at the Mavso Sports Center in Manzini. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabisum Sonera, Babane.
That is all we had for tonight, but before we wrap up, we'll take a quick recap of today's headlines. The Deputy Prime Minister, Senator Themba Masuku, has advised senior citizens and members of the disabled community against sharing their mobile money deals with unknown people. The Minister for Commerce, Industry and Trade, Mangoba Khumalo, says the government of the Kingdom of Eswatini will continue to support the textile industry. The Minister for Agriculture, Jabulani Mabuza, has officially opened the Mahosha Deep Tank under the Ngudzeni constituency. That brings us to the end of our news bulletin tonight. Up next is the weather forecast at Eswatini.